Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. They've been called the godfathers of progressive rock music, one of the biggest bands to emerge from the 1970s. Nearly 50 million records sold. True icons in the genre of classic rock. But with the sudden passing of both Keith Emerson and Greg Lake in 2016, it seemed as though the band was gone for good.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Counterpoint, a musician's tale all along the Armstrong network of great TV stations. My name is Cornel Bogdan. Our guest has blended elements of rock, jazz, classical music. He's paved the way for future drummers and redefined the role of drummer in rock music. He's been part of two of the most successful bands in music history, Asia, and of course a founding member of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome to Counterpoint drummer extraordinaire, Mr. Carl Palmer. Welcome back, my friends, starring Mr. Carl Palmer, the return of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. You'll see him at the Kent Stage July 22nd. Tickets at kentstage.org. Carl, let's talk about this new project. I know you're excited about it.
Yeah, sure. Well, what we've got here is about an hour, 50-minute show. We managed to get 6 to 7 pieces of music which involve Keith Emerson and Greg Lake playing live on film from the Royal Albert Hall. It's all in sync. I removed the original drums that were recorded, and obviously I'm playing in the theatre on that night. So what happened when this video DVD was made, it was made for Universal, who we were signed to at the time. We recorded and filmed separately. In other words, all of the audio tracks were recorded individually, which meant I could take away the drums, I could remix the keyboards of voice, bass guitar, acoustic guitar. It would all automatically be in sync with the footage, and I could play along with Greg and Keith in situ with them in the room, and it all being remixed yet again for that particular hall. So this is something which is, you know, very, very lucky that we came across this material, that the audio was recorded separately, and that's been the gift here. They're not holograms. It's Emerson and Lake at their very best, and yeah, they were very proud of it, and it was group approved. As I say, it was released on Universal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I think Greg and Keith would be so proud and honored of what you're doing here. It's not a tribute. It is a continuation of ELP.
It's the only way that we could bring it back and it be absolutely real, honest, and to the point. Obviously, there's limited amount of material. There's 7 songs we play together as a band. And Keith Emerson's keyboards are being mixed that night as if he was in the room, because everything, as I said, is on separate tracks. And when you see him playing on stage, he's completely in sync. So overall, this is probably, it's the height of technology, you know, that you can actually produce in a live situation, providing you've got the material to do it with, which luckily enough, I'll be very honest with you here, we recorded 2 nights at the Royal Albert Hall to make a live DVD. This was mid-90s. And the reason why we recorded the sound separately, which not a lot of groups do, because it's cheaper to record it all in one go, all the visuals, the 5 cameras, and all the audio. We decided to record it separately, the audio tracks. Yes. So if there was anything wrong, we could go into the studio, we could be really smart, pull our trousers up and just correct absolutely everything. So that's basically how it came about. It's the way we always thought. Yes, it cost more to do at the time, but boy, is it paying off now, because now I can use it. And the other great thing attached to this is that the actual DVD didn't sell many worldwide, and it's not something I'm proud of, but now it works in my favor. I'll tell you what actually happened. We were signed to Universal. We made the DVD. It got released, all group approved, as I said. Then Universal Sanctuary, who we actually made it with. Universal came in and bought out Sanctuary, and Sanctuary no longer existed. When they bought out Sanctuary, this had already been released, and in that 3 weeks, it just went down the tubes, and it never really got the amount of airplay. It never got it was not exposed as much as it should be globally. So I think when we look at sales, I think possibly there's between 10 and 12,000 copies globally that got sold. Yes, you can find clips of it on YouTube here and there, which obviously I've had removed because I'm actually presenting the show, but there were not a lot of copies out there. So it's all relatively new still. So I'm very, very pleased about it.
That is a tremendous story, a tremendous story. Thank you. I'm honored that you shared that with us here. A couple of questions about your career, Carl. Progressive rock, prog rock. I've been a radio guy all my life. I still really don't understand that phrase. To me, ELP, a great band. Asia, a great band. Why do we need that prog rock label?
I think because prog rock was one of the few art forms that England gave to the world. Like you
Mhm.
gave jazz and blues, we gave prog rock. And I think, for that reason, a lot of the journalists here in Europe, here in the UK, just wanted to just keep on tagging that onto whatever happened. And what is prog rock anyway? All it
Yes.
meant was that the intros to most songs were longer than normal. We used the most up-to-date gadgetry or plugins of the day, and that's all it was. That's all it meant. Yes, the pieces of music were longer. They were more indulgent, so they called it prog rock. And I have to say that Keith Emerson definitely was a pioneer in using all of those early Moog keyboards, such as the GX1, the Yamaha, and the Moog synthesizer, the Mini Moog, the big console he used. So, yeah, I mean, technology played a huge part in it, to tell you the truth.
I don't mean to embarrass you, but you do an incredible amount of charity work. I've done some research on Carl Palmer, and through the art of giving, which is based around your artwork and much more. I know it's near and dear to your heart. How can people and fans involve themselves with your charities and everything that you do
Well,
with taking care of people?
yeah, well, let me just explain that to you sort of briefly here. Basically, if they go to carlpalmerart.com, you will see various pieces of artwork there. I've had two catalogs of art. I've had two art books I've released. Probably sold about 600 canvases since I've been doing this over a 15-year period. And what I do is when people have bought pieces of art of mine, I've kept all the data of where they live, who they are, and what they bought, what they purchased. And then in return, I've said to them, would they like to hold an art exhibition? And they could host it. And I'll supply all the canvases. I'll be there. I'll be there in person. I'll do
Got it.
whatever they want. And they don't have to buy anything. Just bring people along who would be interested in the art. And if they buy something, that's fine. And what we'll do for the inconvenience of you doing it in your house or in some hall that you've chosen or whatever, we'll donate X amount, a percentage of whatever we sell on that night to a charity. And I'll tell you what, you can pick the charity. And
Nice.
that's how it's done. So I actually get, whoever the sort of the people who are really into the art, whatever they want to do, I try and work with them on it. Because as far as I'm concerned, most charities need help. So it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter to me which ones. Some are better than others. Some are, do a better job than others. But at the end of the day, we need them all. So
Yes.
that's how I tie it all in.
Can I say, as a radio guy, thank you for all that support you have done over the years. Look at you, man. You stay in incredible shape. What's your fitness routine nowadays? Is drumming ever taken its toll on your body? It sure doesn't
Uh,
seem like it.
No, I'm pretty in pretty good shape. I was a vegan for just over 13 years. I'm kind of now sort of plant-based. I eat a little bit of fish now and again because sometimes my fingers get a little bit stiff. I don't drink excessive amounts of alcohol. Maybe I drink every couple of weeks. I've never drunk a beer or a lager or smoked a cigarette in all my life. Um, And I stay fit. I use a lot of resistant bands, just to keep my muscles toned. I don't lift weights, or very, very rare. I go skiing, and maybe you can see some skiing memorabilia at the back there. I go
Yeah.
skiing a couple of times a week. About 15 minutes from where I live, we have a snow dome with real snow. And so I can ski inside, and I really enjoy that. So, yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, the job that I've got, I just have to look after myself because it's so physical. It
Uh-huh.
is so physical, and at the end of the day, I enjoy taking care anyway. It's nice.
Well, I'm going to ask you as if you're a coach of a football team, of a basketball team. I'm looking at Carl Palmer as a drummer. You've won every award imaginable. What do you feel sets Carl Palmer aside from everybody else?
We
And from the outside looking in, Carl.
we didn't win the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but you
Yeah,
know something? That doesn't matter.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. Do you know why? Because I believe we're already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because
Amen.
people like you and thousands of millions of people around the world bought our product.
Yep.
That's my Hall of Fame. So,
Amen.
um, but what was the question? What would I
Yeah,
say to
well, yeah. What do you think sets Carl Palmer? You're looking at yourself from the outside.
all
What
right,
sets
okay.
Carl Palmer apart from everybody else?
I'm enthusiastic still about what I do.
Hey, you can tell, man.
I'm not interested in, I have everything I need. I'll be very honest with you, and I don't mean to sound big-headed in any way, but I've got everything I need, and my needs aren't high, but I've got everything I want, and basically, I really enjoy playing. I mean, I've turned professional when I left school at the age of 15. I'm now 74, and I've been playing all that time as a professional musician. So for me, it's not a case of doing something else or thinking, well, I've done that, let's stop. I'm still getting better. I'm still actually getting better. I mean,
I love it.
I'm going to play today after I've spoken to you. I'll go into my music room just down the hallway here. And for me, it's just, it's really enjoyable. I'm really proud of the music I've created. I'm proud of all of those bands I've been in, Asia, ELP, you name it, even Atomic Rooster, which was one of the very first sort of prog rock sort of English bands. For me, it's just, I just love what I do. I love what I
Yeah.
do. I mean,
Eh,
my father took me to see the Gene Krupa story. And Gene Krupa was a well-known jazz drummer,
Oh, sure.
and he took me to see it one Sunday afternoon. We went to the movie theater. I was 10, and he was a big jazz fan. So he said, "You've got to come and see this drummer. This guy is definitely happening." So I said, "Okay." So we went. It was just the two of us. And I saw that film. And, when people talk about a light bulb moment, it does happen in some people's lives.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
happened in mine, and that's all there is to it. And I've walked down that path ever since. It's as simple as that. When we came out of the movie theater, I said, "Dad, that's what I'd like to do." He said, "Right, job done. We'll get it sorted." And that was it. Easy.
If you can bottle your enthusiasm and put it in a pharmacy or a drugstore, oh my goodness, it would be selling like hotcakes. Just a couple more here, Carl.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go back. July 22nd, you'll be at the Kent Stage in Kent, Ohio. We love having you there. Welcome back, my friends. The return of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Your songs are sort of like your kids, and now playing these songs and updated what you're doing nowadays with this new project. Do you find anything new about playing the older material and that surprises you?
Well, I tell you what I did, when ELP had finished, because, Keith and Greg died, basically, I decided, well, it was before that I'd put my band together. I decided that I wouldn't use keyboards because nobody could take the place of Keith Emerson in my mind. What I wanted to do was use guitars because the guitar virtuosity that is around these days is just immense. And I thought, with technology, with the plugins, I know we can trigger synthesizers, with the guitar. I know we can trigger it with the chapstick, with the actual bass guitar, the six
Right.
string bass guitar. I know the Chapman stick is going to work really well. It's got 10 strings. We can play chords and the root note at the same time. I figured I've just got to go about this a completely different way. And because I did it that way, it just made me more enthusiastic because there's more to find out, there's more to experiment with, and it gives it a different flavor. It still honors the music of ELP as honestly as what we possibly can. I mean, ELP's music, this is a great fact, this. I've heard classical string quartets play ELP music.
Yes.
I've heard jazz big bands play our music.
Yes.
I know that our music has been used by an orchestra in Tokyo on NHK TV. I know that it's been in Berkeley School of Music. Pictures had an exhibition by Mussorgsky. Our version has been analyzed, why we did this, why they did that. So the music has been used in every which way. What it never got used as was a power guitar trio. Why? Because guitars don't have as much flexibility as synthesizers do. They didn't then.
Yes.
But in the last 15 years, you can get any sound out of a guitar. If you've got the right plugins and the right bits and pieces, you can get from a synthesizer. So I just wanted to have both. I wanted a guitar player and a keyboard player all in one, but I didn't want to have four guys on stage because I love playing in trios. That's what I'm all about. You know?
Wow. Really, last question, Carl. And I was told by my compadres that if I didn't ask you this, I was not allowed back in the building. The argument, the ultimate ELP album. On one side, you have the group that's a trilogy. On the other side, you have the brain salad surgery. I am asking you today, Carl, is it one of those two, or are you going to cross me up and tell me it's something else? What is the ultimate ELP album?
Can we take half and half? No.
Yes. Unfortunately, that's your toughest question. You got to pick one.
Well, let me just tell you about the two albums first of all, so we've got that in context.
Yes.
Trilogy was the first album we had a different mindset on. We decided to go into the studio and make an album. Before we would go into the studio and make an album, we could play on stage as three people, and it would sound exactly like it does on the record.
Yes.
That was the ethos. With Trilogy, we went in and said, damn that, let's make a record and stick everything on it we can that we think works. So we did, and we put lots of stuff on. Obviously, it was hard to go on tour because we needed another keyboard player, probably a guitar, which we never took. And so MIDI got developed and it kind of helped us, and we could produce a lot of those sounds anyway. With brain salad surgery, that was a different ball game, because that was the pinnacle of the creative source of ELP. The pinnacle. We never got any cleverer than that. We peaked then, which was, God, I wish I could make that album again and experience that. So between the two of them, they're both incredibly important to me. And all I would like to say to you, could we take side one from Trilogy, side two from Brain Salad Surgery?
Good enough answer. Good enough answer. You are an absolute delight, my friend, and congratulations with this tour. We're so excited about it coming to this Kent stage and all of your other dates. It's Welcome Back, my friends, starring Mr. Carl Palmer. Carl, continued success and continued great health, and we will see you real soon.
Thank you so much for the interview. Very much appreciated. Take care. Thank you. That's
Carl Palmer on Counterpoint, A Musician's Tale. Everybody, peace.
Announcing Welcome Back, my friends, the return of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Get ready for the return of this powerful trio through modern technology. See Keith Emerson and Greg Lake performing a legendary Royal Albert Hall concert in sync with Carl Palmer and his ELP Legacy Band, with Paul Bialatovich and Simon Fitzpatrick, who will be live on stage. Welcome back, my friends. The return of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. See and hear ELP in all its classic glory.
We had white horses and ladies by the score. Ooh, what a lucky man he was.
The incredible musicianship of Keith Emerson, the brilliant voice and guitar of Greg Lake, and the incomparable Carl Palmer on drums.
was an idea to use some live footage of Greg and Keith in concert. And funny enough, we had a recording from the Royal Albert Hall. The performances were excellent. The audio lines, everything sounded really, really good. The camera work was excellent. So I think this will be the best way to go. And this will just be part of the anniversary touring, and technology allows us to do that.
From the beginning, when the flames have their season, fast or short, you get your money's worth. Really show in heaven, you gotta see the show. It's a dynamo.
Don't miss this incredible evening of music, memories, and excitement as we celebrate the historic 50th anniversary of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, live in concert once again. Welcome back, my friends. The return of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Don't miss it.